What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Hylor, and this is your first ever battle lesson for Total War Warhammer. In this series, I'm going to be trying to do my best to where I know there's a lot of battle breakdowns on YouTube out there, but I'm going to do battle breakdowns. But while I do it, I'm going to focus specifically on teaching you what I did right, what I did wrong, what the enemy did right, what they did wrong, to hopefully teach you as much as I possibly can about how to master Total War Warhammer. So we're going to start off today with me playing as the dwarves against the vampires. Now, right out of the gate, before I even start the replay, it's important to note that before you even pick a unit, that you need to read what the enemy is doing, what their strengths are going to be, what their weaknesses are going to be. So the reason why I picked the dwarves versus the vampires is the vampires are going to have mobility. They're going to have to rush because they have no ranged units, and they're going to have fear, which, if you haven't already learned about fear, you can go ahead and click on this link up here if you want to check it out. But I picked the dwarves because I find them to be a great counter against the vampires. So let's go ahead and watch the replay. Now you'll notice early on that I pick longbeards, 2 units of slayers, 2 hammers, quarrelers. There's no siege units. Normally speaking, I would say you absolutely must bring siege units to a fight if you're playing as the dwarves, but I find that the vampires, being a much more rush style army, considering they don't have any ranged units and they don't have any siege units of their own basically, then I just need to kind of hold on. So one of the advantages that they're going to have over me is mobility, which is going to be the flying monsters, these Vargeist, which are low armored flying monsters. So what I know they're going to bring them, because that's exactly what you do when you play as vampires. You have to bring at least 1 unit of Vargeist. So I brought quarrelers to counter them. I bring 4 quarrelers. These are going to be my ranged units to reach out and touch them to make sure they have to get engaged. Now, the other thing that they bring is they bring Blood Knights, which is the other way that they're going to have mobility. Now, these Blood Knights are going to be high damage, high armor. They're very good. They just came out. They're some of the best cavalry in the game. This is why I brought the Slayers. Now, the Slayers are honestly not the best unit in the game. They're not even very good, if I'm honest. But what I use a Slayer as, and the reason why I bring him here, and I probably wouldn't bring it against another army, is the fact that the real weakness of Slayers is ranged units. Ranged units can just absolutely destroy them because they have 0 armor. They're like Vargeist for the ground, so they're slow, and they're not that great at dealing that much damage. That being said, they can really take a cavalry charge. And so I'm going to go ahead and start the match here. And as you can see, as the match starts here, what I do is I put my quarrelers up here, and I'm going to immediately start trying to get them into the Vargeist to shoot them, to take them out as quick as possible. I bring a front line of longbeards. Now I want to explain real quick why I brought longbeards. Going up against the vampires are going to have fear on all of their units. You can see the little skull down here. When I hover over them, you can see that little skull down there. That's fear. So each and every one of their units are going to have fear. Some of them are going to have terror as well, but they're going to have fear. And fear, again, if you haven't already checked it out, you can check out my guide on fear and terror. But fear basically makes it to where there's a -10 leadership debuff on all of your troops within a certain range of that unit. Now, since every single one of the vampire units have it, I know that I really need to try to counter it. They have low leadership. The enemy units have low leadership compared to me. And normally this is compensated with fear. So if I can start with higher leadership, I'll be better off. Longbeards cost 100 gold more per unit than dwarf warriors, which are what most people bring to a fight. Dwarf warriors are good compared to most basic infantry, but they're basically useless in the sense of what I want, which is a high leadership front line that's going to be high in combat. Now I have basically just about 90 leadership on these longbeards, and you can see that they start with 46. I have a massive leadership bonus, or I have a massive leadership difference between me and them, and my guys are going to be better than their skeletal warriors and Cairn race. Now, don't get me wrong, this probably isn't the best build. It might have been just in trying something out. Blood Knights had just come out then, so maybe they're trying up a different mix. But anyways, so I bring these longbeards knowing that they are perfect for a long grind out fight, since the vampire units are not going to just give up. They don't rout, they have to crumble. So I need to prepare for a long, drawn out fight. So what I do is I put longbeards up in front. I have 1 longbeard on the side just because I want an extra unit to defend. I have a unit of hammers here, a unit of hammers in the very back, and then I have slayers on each side because I know the Longbeards can't take a charge as well as the Slayers do, so what I do to really make sure is these Blood Knights could easily charge through the Longbeards and then get into the Quarlers. And so I kind of just keep some guys back to make sure I can lock them down. And then what's also nice is these Slayers, since they are on the inside, they're also the closest to my Quarlers. So what you're going to see here right now is that, just as I expect, the skeleton warriors and everyone else has to rush up. They're going to try to get up on this hill. Again, I have a superior position. I'll be able to charge down, get a little bit more charge bonus. I'm immediately shooting 2 Quarlers each on each one of these Var guys that are low armored units. They don't have very much armor, and you can see I tear into them before they even get into me. They charge on a 1 Quarler. The Quarler takes... Wow, they just get shoved back, don't they? But nonetheless, they get in there. And you can see they're already routing. They're already just done. They've taken so much damage, and then boom, there go the Slayers. These Slayers have anti-large. This is what they are good at. So they get in there, and Vargas are done. They're spent. They're gone. They're crumbled. They're out of there. So immediately you notice, I don't even wait. I take my Quarlers, and I stick them right on his Lord. And so I just start going to town. I'm trying to keep these guys back as much as possible. I really want to make sure I can wrap up this fight with the Vargas, which is basically done now, before these guys get in, so I have all my units free. Now again, I'm winning this fight. Look at how strong this front line is lasting. Look at this. Just easy peasy. Lots of blood and gore. But this is just easy. My guys are having the easiest time. I have an advantage. They're losing morale. They're crumbling. My guys have barely even taken any... They haven't even taken any losses, some of these guys. They haven't taken a single loss. So I'm getting my Quarlers in. They're starting to work on the Lord. There's one moment right here where there's kind of a charge that gets through. They get into my Longbeards. Again, my Longbeards are amazing. They lost 1 guy. I get my Slayers in here. So now I'm getting into their Blood Knights. He immediately gets out. Smart move. Cairn rates aren't going to do great. It's a good idea in the sense they'll take less damage, and they have armor piercing, but they're not going to do all that great without some kind of better supporting units. So really kind of a support melee attack. And you can see, I think one of the biggest mistakes, I don't know, he's probably just microing his Blood Knights around and forgot about it, but he didn't get his Lord into the fight, and he's not going to be the best Lord to get into a fight anyways. But so he gets into a fight finally, and up until this point he hasn't done life leech on me. So he gets in and he's already at half health, and I just keep, it doesn't matter, like my guys are high armor, high leadership. I'm just going to start pouring as much Quarler fighting as I can. You notice I rush my Slayers instantly over, just bam, I have them here, they're done. So he summons up some zombies. They are like instantly crushed. They make no difference whatsoever. My Slayers are right there. Just, they have low leadership. They go right into crumbling. He gets a little bit of a charge off here with his Blood Knights. But you've noticed I just took out his Lord already. The Lord's already gone. Everyone's already moving into crumbling. So at this point, it's really just a matter of wrapping it up. I get some hammers, which are some phenomenal infantry in the game. I honestly bring it in every single one of my Dwarven armies. And so now they're just crumbling. They're just done. So as this match wraps up, the reason why I think that this match is interesting and important is not that they brought the best army, and I know that they probably didn't do, I was playing against a buddy of mine, and he was testing out some stuff, but what really it is that from the get-go, you need to look at what the enemy is bringing. They brought vampires, I brought dwarves. So what I ended up doing is I look at the strengths of the faction the enemy is bringing, and I try to counter that by picking not only the units of that faction that are going to help me, but also picking the actual faction that's going to do the best against the enemy. So the best thing you can do is, again, vampires, I know what the strengths are. They're going to have the fear, they're going to have flying monsters, they're going to have probably mobility on the fact that I'm a dwarf. They're going to have a mobility advantage over me. So I counter these things in specific ways, and I play to my strengths and against the enemy's weaknesses. And you can see actually here, I actually don't do that great in kills. I mean, my Longbirds do great, but that's just because they're in a slug out fight with these Skeleton Warriors. The Skeleton Warriors get no kills at all, really. Cairn rates shut down. Blood Knights are amazing cavalry, so that's, to be expected. They'll get something. But even then, again, my Slayers didn't do half bad like normal because I was able to use probably one of the weaker units in the game, which is funny considering that's what dwarves are really known for. They're kind of known for having Slayers. But one of the weaker units in the game for not having armor and everything. Quick side note, the fact that there's Savage Orcs that get War Paint, which gives a physical damage like resistance buff, but then Slayers don't have that, is just beyond me. So the fact that Orcs have basically Slayers but have better physical resistance is beyond me. But anyways, I'm able to bring them to counter the large units of the Vargeist when they land, and the Blood Knights. So that's why I brought them. Hammers are just great at damage dealing, so I know I can throw them into any fight. They're going to be great on the front line. They're going to be great dealing with any of the large units that come in because they have so much armor. They're going to be able to last out in a fight. So I just knew this is going to be the best way to handle it. So even though really, besides my front line, which was just grinding it out against inferior infantry, none of my guys really get that many kills. But because I was able to use them all properly, and because, again, I didn't have lower leadership or anything like that, I took almost negligible losses and crushed him. This would be, if this was a campaign battle, I would be able to have almost all of my units at full strength the next turn. So I hope you guys learned a little bit something from this. One of the things I'm going to keep hitting home in all of my future ones is you need to read the enemy army before you even begin picking units. You need to see what they're going with, and then you need to think which are the weaknesses of that faction that they're playing, what are the strengths of that faction they're playing, and which faction is going to be best at countering those strengths and exploiting those weaknesses in the enemy faction. So that's going to be something I'm going to drill home, so hopefully you guys get it now. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys learned some stuff. If you did, tell me what you think you learned in the comment section down below. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? What could I do better? I want to tailor this to what you guys want to understand, want to know. Maybe I'll just try to focus on showing you guys battles that kind of deal with ideas and concepts that you guys don't really understand yet. So let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Until next time, my name is Hylor, and I'll see you all soon.